nearly 50 million Facebook users with Cambridge Analytica, a company accused of using the information to post targeted political advertisements for President Donald Trump. The lawsuit, filed by Matthew Ladowski, also targets Cambridge Analytica for its role in mining the private data. Other defendants include Robert Leroy Mercer, a wealthy New York investor in Cambridge Analytica, and Alexander Kogan, a professor at Cambridge University. The suit aims to collect about $50 billion in damages based on a federal statute that allows up to $1,000 per violation. Ladowski is accusing the social media giant of conspiracy and negligence by failing to protect user data, failing to take reasonable measures to avert problems when it learned the company had obtained users' personal information without permission, and failing to let users know their data had been taken until journalists broke the story. The suit also claims a violation of the Stored Communications Act, a law that allows online users to file lawsuits over intentional access without authorization to a facility through which an electronic communication service is provided. The class action includes any U.S. Facebook user whose data was impacted by Cambridge Analytica's data breach and seeks compensatory damages, restitution, and fees, and an injunction against Cambridge Analytica and the professor at Cambridge University named in the suit. Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who said the company is trying to resolve the problem and prevent further issues, said in a statement the company will investigate apps with access to large amounts of user information, further restrict developers' access to data, and place a tool on the top of a user's feed to show which apps have access to their information.
Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io.
Reuters reports voter registration activists fanned out among young Americans who marched for tighter gun laws on Saturday, signing up thousands of first-time voters who vowed to eject lawmakers who opposed new gun control laws. With midterm congressional elections 8 months away, the activists flocked to some 800 marches across the country to enroll young voters likely to back Democratic and independent candidates who tend to favor tougher firearm laws. In Washington, volunteers for the headcount voter registration efforts raised their fist and chanted, "Demonstration without registration leads to frustration," before heading out with clipboards to sign up some of the nation's newest voters. Organizers of the registration drive hope to sign up at least 25,000 new voters on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The push to legalize marijuana is gaining momentum. These prescription doobies will do a whole lot more than just give patients a case of the munchies. Proponents are piping up to say that medical marijuana can help patients with some of the chronic illnesses that have been majorly killing their buzz. Unfortunately, 36 U.S. states are still not a kind bud of the legalization argument. But in states that do have the plan, the results have been, well, pretty far out, man. Patients nationwide are bluntly asking state legislatures to finally mellow out so that they and their doctors can work jointly to stop the suffering that's making a hash of their lives.
So it's clearly an issue that means a lot to these patients.
So states shouldn't toke their time with this policy. We'd be upset if patients had to wait a long time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. This is the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, and, well, as the show name might indicate to you, you're able to call in and talk about what you want here on this live edition of Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live's live every single day from 7 p to 10 p Eastern Time. No matter where you are, you can figure it out. I know if you can get access to a computer, which means you could probably listen at freetalklive.com, then you can listen. It's Mark with you.
And Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
Guys, I am back from the warm and sunny beaches of Sarasota, Florida. And I got to say, seeing all this dirty, shoved around snow, I didn't miss it.
Oh, today's like a paradisiacal compared to the past few weeks.
Yeah. It's, well, winter can't go soon enough as far as I'm concerned.
But what about second winter and third winter?
Indeed.
And all the other ones?
I don't know how many nor'easters we've had this year, and they just keep on coming. When we started Free Talk Live long ago, for those that have listened to Free Talk Live any period of time, wouldn't surprise you that we're libertarians. There's a couple of books that were very formative for the show. So one of them was Healing Our World by Dr. Mary Ruwat. And I don't think that it is too radical of us to say that on this show that we're basically, sort of to some extent Ruwartian libertarians.
Well, you, Ian and you, Mark, are the progenitors and the principals of the show. And I know Ian was always singing her praises and the praises of that book.
Indeed, and it's a book well worth checking out. But Dr. Mary Ruwat has not rested on her laurels and has written yet another book. And she sent me an email, which I love to get emails from Dr. Ruwat, and she said she had a book that's coming out. It doesn't exist in dead tree form at this point, but it's on its way very, very soon. Dr. Ruwat, are you with us?
I am, and thanks for having me on the show. It's a delight.
And thank you so much for coming. Tell us about the book. I know nothing.
Okay, well, it's very exciting because I don't think there's anything like it on the market right now. It's called Death by Regulation: How We Were Robbed of a Golden Age of Health and How We Can Reclaim It. And basically, it's really about the 1962 amendments to the Food and Drug Act. Okay. So it's about the FDA and the power that it got in 1962 and how it has, because of these amendments, has shaved 5 to 10 years off each of our lives. And this isn't just pie in the sky. I was actually able to extract from published data different studies that show the way that, that a lot of our health has been inhibited by these amendments. The prevention dynamic has been changed. It used to be that we would get life-saving information about nutrients, and now a lot of it is suppressed or censored by the FDA. It takes, instead of taking 4 years to get a drug to the marketplace from the lab bench, it now takes closer to 13 or 14 years. That's right. A huge increase. And innovation has been slashed about 50 to 80%. These amendments have really destroyed what should have been our golden age of health. And in the book, I go through, all the different ways in which it has done that, because there are many, many ways that these amendments worked, and they're living law. They keep metastasizing. So every year it gets worse and worse.
I know that right now they recently passed the right to try. So the idea is that
that failed.
Did it fail?
Yes.
Okay. The idea is that the FDA is to some extent getting some level of pushback from the public. So it sounds like this is very timely in its release. Did you plan it that way in any way?
No, it just took a long time to write. So it finally made it to the publisher, and I expect to have books on April 10th. The exciting thing for your listeners today is that I'm taking pre-orders, and if you order a book before the release date of April 10th, you can get $60 worth of free gifts that will allow you to, for example, get discounts on my website or free books that are coming in digital form, and you get those right away. And the wonderful thing about it is, of course, the book is $27.99, so you're actually getting more than the value of the book when you make the purchase. And your listeners can go to deathbyregulation.us and read about all the bonuses and, of course, get a little more information about the book.
So, you say in it that there's something that what we can do about it is that, in some way or another, our lives have been shortened. And I presume you're talking about from their potential, not, from the length that people lived in the 60s. But is this something that individually like sort of nutrients that one can consume to keep their lives longer, or is this ways in which us, the public, can confront those in the FDA and Congress and all that other stuff? How I'm curious.
Yes, it's a little bit of everything because, of course, one of the things that I couldn't calculate was how many lives have been lost due to prevention.
Sure.
In the book, I go through some of the nutrients that help us live longer. One person has estimated that if we had proper vitamin D levels, for example, we'd live another 2 years longer. But there's so much that can't be calculated there that, I don't have numbers for that. But what I do have numbers for is what has happened to the drug industry. So when you have a 13-year or 14-year development time instead of a 4-year development time, you can calculate that about 15 million Americans have died prematurely, just waiting for life-saving drugs to get to the market. And then if you make a very conservative estimate about what the decrease in innovation has done, that's another 26.7 million. And then if you look at the censorship of life-saving information for older drugs, just for one of them, aspirin, you get 1.7 million people dying prematurely. So when you add this all up, about half of the people who have died since 1962 have probably lost 10 years of their lives. But these are conservative estimates, and they don't include the impact on prevention. And so if you think it through a little bit, you quickly realize that we've all been affected and all lost loved ones to these amendments and probably have lost 5 to 10 years of our lives.
Now, Dr. Ruwat, you mentioned some amendments passed in 1962, and I'm actually on the FDA website right now where they're on a page talking about, the history of regulations, where they tout, regulation as this great, wonderful thing. And they mentioned the Kefauver-Harris drug amendments of 1962.
Yes. That's
and
them.
One of the things says in the years before, or rather, I lost my place here. After these amendments went through, the marketing of a drug had to be approved by the FDA?
That's right. So, there's been a lot of complaints about the prices of new drugs. And if you look at how much we pay at the pharmacy versus what the regulatory costs are, there's a direct correlation, not just in R&D, but in manufacturing and advertising, because these amendments gave the FDA power over that. And as it's been harder and harder to take a drug to market, investors are asking for a larger return on their money. So profits also are influenced by these amendments. So it's really, and I tried to calculate what the difference would have been if these amendments had never passed. The closest I could get to it was about a 40-fold difference. So that means, we're paying many times what we should be at the pharmacy.
Right. And
I know from speaking to you in the past, Dr. Ruwat, that you were involved in the industry somewhere around this time frame. You knew what it was like before and after. Is that correct?
Pretty much. The amendments didn't really kick in until the 1970s.
Okay.
And I was, because there were a lot of lawsuits about it. And I came in with this.
Hold on, just hold on with that for 1 second, if you would, Dr. Ruwat. This is Free Talk Live, and if you've got any questions for Dr. Ruwat, please call in with them. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dynavite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynavite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. With you live this Sunday evening. It is Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And Darryl.
And we're talking to Dr. Ruwat about her new book, Death by Regulation. And Dr. Ruwat has been in the drug sort of creation industry for some time. She's also a one-time presidential candidate.
Two-time
presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. Dr. Ruwat, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Before we get back into our questions, are you going to run in 2020?
No, I don't think so. I'm much more focused on my writing. That's where I think I can do the most good.
Excellent. Well, we'll have to find the next principled libertarian out there, and thank you for all your work you've done in the past. So, Darryl, you had questions about the marketing of drugs in the 1960s,
right? So I'm still curious about this wording here from the FDA's website, saying that basically the FDA has to approve the marketing of
That's
a
right.
drug. And I'm wondering if, the wording here, if in FDA language, marketing means something other than what marketing means in, say, the radio and TV business, because I'm thinking this means that the FDA has to approve all of the commercials that wind up being run.
That's correct. And also the package insert that goes into the box that has the pills in it. And basically, there's usually kind of some conflict there. There's some back and forth, and that really increases the cost of getting these ads out, as you might imagine.
So the FDA, I'm just curious, do they have a specific department of the FDA that watches the commercial of somebody running through fields of sunflowers and then, take this. Side effects may include diarrhea, dizziness, death, all of these other horrible things, but there's still the lady running through sunflowers.
Well, actually, that's mostly due to the FDA. What happens is because the FDA can seize all the drugs, if an ad goes out and they don't like it, the drug companies generally submit their ads in advance to the FDA, and the FDA critiques them, tell them what they can and cannot do. I remember when Upjohn, which is the company I worked for, wanted to advertise Rogaine for hair loss for men, and the FDA wouldn't initially let the ads say anything about hair loss. So what you did is you saw a balding man walking on the beach and saying, if you have some hair loss problem, talk to your doctor. That's all they could say. And again, the other bad thing about this is that the FDA does not consider that commercial speech is protected by the First Amendment. So if they don't like what you say, they can come after you and claim, for example, for like the cherries and walnuts, the manufacturers or the producers, I should say, of cherries and walnuts started putting things on their website saying, this ingredient that's in our walnuts or in our cherries has been shown to be very beneficial to your health. And then they'd cite a scientific paper. Well, according to the FDA, if you make a health claim about a food or a vitamin, it makes that product a drug that needs to go through these, 13 to 14 years of regulatory red tape before you can say that.
Wasn't there something on a similar vein? Wasn't there something not too long ago where Cheerios wound up coming under some scrutiny?
Yes, Cheerios got hit too, because they were claiming that if you ate Cheerios, studies had shown that, with a regular healthy diet, that, you could decrease your cholesterol a little bit more than if you didn't have Cheerios in your diet. And they that they considered that a health claim. And so they told them they couldn't do that. And the sad thing about this is people have died because of this. And I'll give you an example. Because these amendments were passed to protect babies from deformities that were happening with a drug called thalidomide in Europe. But here in the U.S., these amendments created the American thalidomide. And the way they did it is that in the 1980s, early 1980s, we knew that the B vitamin, folic acid, would protect babies against what we call neural tube defects. It's a type of birth defect that's very severe. Usually the children are institutionalized or they don't survive. And so the FDA told the folic acid manufacturers that if they talked about this at all, that they would shut them down.
Right. It's a claim, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even when the Center for Disease Control, another government agency in the early 90s, started recommending to young women that they take folic acid because you needed it in the first 2 months of pregnancy, when most women don't even know that they're pregnant,
right,
the FDA threatened to shut them down again. And so it wasn't really until about 12 years after we had this information that it really became public knowledge. And in the meantime, something around 10 to 15,000 babies were needlessly born with these deformities, and many more were aborted because you can test for this, when what we call in utero, when the baby's still in the mother. So that was very tragic. And I'm only giving one single example. Just imagine how many health claims that nutritional products should be able to make.
I'm thinking of two off the top of my head. Water cures dehydration.
Yes, you
and
can't say
oranges
that.
prevent scurvy.
Well, the scurvy is allowed. The scurvy thing is allowed, but not probably for foods. And what happens,
So
like when
vitamin C?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was working in the industry, we didn't have all these genetic manipulations to create diseased animals. And our rats were so healthy, they never got sick because we had titrated their nutrition, right? So the way we made them sick and have diseases similar to that of humans is we took away their vitamins. Or we overwhelmed their bodies with high carbohydrates or high fat diets.
So you fed them the classic American diet.
Yes. So basically what all the researchers knew was, hey, optimal nutrition is very important for good health. And so we were careful. Now the MDs in the group generally didn't have this information. So they were still smoking and drinking, being overweight, not exercising, all of that. So nutrition, optimal nutrition is extremely important. And when the FDA disallowed these claims, several things happened. One is the drug companies, which were actually putting out like one-a-day multiple vitamins, or Upjohn had Unicaps, and were actually getting very involved in the nutrition scene, had to back away because obviously the FDA was going to require them to go through 13 to 14 years of regulatory red tape if they wanted to make claims for their nutritional products. So they just, stopped.
Right. And you just can't make, some fish oil or whatever your nutritional product is. You just can't make that profitable enough to make this 13 or 14 years and billions of dollars into testing work.
Not usually, but actually, it was interesting. Someone in the drug industry decided that they would tweak fish oil a little bit so they could get a patent on it and then take it through the process.
Okay.
And now fish oil, if you get prescription fish oil, you pay about 10 times as much as you will for good quality fish oil on the open market.
I've got questions about this prescription fish oil. Dr. Ruwat, can you hang with us for another segment?
Sure.
If you have any questions, too, the number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Really honored to have Dr. Ruwat out here on Free Talk Live.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
Doing an interview here with Dr. Ruwat about her new book, Death by Regulation, at deathbyregulation.us. Is that right, Darryl?
I believe that's what she said. Deathbyregulation.us.
Bring her back on so she can yell at us.
And it's currently on pre-sale. I believe she said publication date was April 10th.
Is that right, Dr. Ruwat?
That's correct. So what we're going to do is collect all these pre-orders, and on April 10th, we will put them all in Amazon at the same time in an attempt to get Death by Regulation on the Amazon bestseller list. So we're really hoping that you and your listeners will be excited about getting the $60 worth of free gifts to pre-order and help us put this on the map, so to speak, at Amazon, because once that happens, Amazon starts advertising it as well. And the great thing about this, from a libertarian standpoint, is this is one of the best demonstrations of how bad regulations can be. In fact, I think this is the most deadly regulation that we've ever had. It's killed, about 30 times more people than have died in all the wars that we've ever had since the start of our country.
Jeez. I would like Free Talk Live to be involved in this in some way. If you can just send an email to me at mark@freetalklive.com after we get off the air here and explain what all the ins and outs of it are. We'll just do live reads. I want to make this happen. But so how does it work as far as Amazon goes? What do we have to achieve to get you notoriety there? I don't know how their formulas work.
Well, I don't know exactly, but we did this before for Healing Our World back in 2005. And then we sold, I think, maybe 500 books. And we got to number 5 in nonfiction and number 1 in several political science categories. I'd like to see if we can get number 1 in nonfiction, although it would take about 1,000 orders. We're not there yet. So I think we have a ways to go, but with the help of you and your listeners, we can make it happen.
And I don't know if anybody outside of the Amazon programmers that calculate their algorithm really know how their algorithms actually work, but there are things to where the more sales you have, the higher up you are, and then the higher you are, the longer the period of time that they calculate sales. Whereas if you only have, a couple of book sales over, say the last month, and then you don't have anything, then you're going to fall in the ratings a lot faster than if you're sitting at number 5 and then you go a day without selling a book.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's a really complex formula that, again, nobody really knows. But if you look at what is where, you can kind of figure out that the things that are at top tend to stay there a little bit longer, even if they're not necessarily as popular now as they were a month ago.
Yeah, I think that, Dr. Ruwat, if I may, I think that the claims that the book makes as far as what has happened in the past and shows how the FDA has basically harmed people, killed tens of millions of people through its regulations, is good libertarian reading. But probably my guess is that people want to know the things that they can do to extend their lives now, the things they can do to stop this the stuff that's going on with the FDA, and the book contains all that too, correct?
Yes, I give some examples of nutritionals, and I also tell people where to go to get more information because, of course, especially for the layperson, they need an easy source. And, of course, Life Extension Foundation is one of those. It's run by libertarians, as you probably know.
Yep.
And it had a big tangle with the FDA when it introduced coenzyme Q into the U.S. market. The FDA came after the founders. They wanted to jail them. Luckily, they weren't able to. And I say luckily, it was actually, I think, the first big victory against the FDA. And now people who take statins are told to take coenzyme Q, which is a nutritional product, because it actually helps alleviate the side effects of statins. If that product had been taken off the market, if the founders of Life Extension had ended up in prison as the FDA wanted them to, we would not have the knowledge today probably about coenzyme Q and the statins. So I'm very, very glad that didn't happen.
So, Dr. Ruwat, I want to go back. There was something you had mentioned in the last segment about somebody that wound up tweaking some fish oil in some way so that they could patent that.
Yes,
and
yes.
Now there's a prescription fish oil. What differentiates prescription from over-the-counter on fish oil specifically?
Well, the fish oil is a little tricky. What they did is they attached different molecules. There were two companies that did this. They attached extra, chemistry to the active ingredients in fish oil. And the body, when it sees that, it just takes that extra group off. So it's what we call a prodrug. And now these two companies are the only ones that can go to doctors' offices and talk about their fish oil product, even though there's a person, Dr. Barry Sears, who developed the Zone Diet, who has a fish oil product that has fewer PCBs, which is a contaminant, in it than the prescription fish oil. But if he were to go to a doctor's office and say, my fish oil is better because it doesn't have as many contaminants, he would probably be thrown in jail. He would be acting against the law because you can't talk to doctors in their offices about your products and try to sell them unless you've gone through these regulatory hoops. So in other words, we have a lot of people paying a lot of money for prescription fish oil that don't need to. They could go to someone else and get fish oil that is pure, but doctors aren't able to be educated about that in their offices. If they happen to read it somewhere, that's something else. But, the people who are selling pure fish oil are not allowed by law to approach doctors and try to sell them the product.
What other, so I have heard you say in the past that fish oil is probably a better choice than not to have fish oil as far as these things go. What are some of the other nutritional things that people can, add to their diet to see some kind of benefit?
Well, there's a lot of benefit to having vitamin D, especially if your levels are low. Obviously, it's better to measure your levels and find out where you are before you start taking them. But vitamin D is it's actually more of a hormone than a vitamin. We call it vitamin D because we discovered it as something that prevented a deficiency disease.
I know it's very difficult to get good vitamin D as far as a supplement goes.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I recommended the Life Extension Foundation to my readers and your listeners, because they do make sure that their products are pure. They make sure that they're absorbed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of nutrients that don't absorb very well, and the Life Extension Foundation works very hard to make sure their products are good products. And in fact, they also review a lot of the drugs that come out when they feel there's a benefit for them, and actually put together these disease treatment protocols. And so, like, for example, if you have cancer or heart disease, you can go to their website and read about the different things you can do to prevent or treat those diseases. So it's really a great resource, and it's written for the layperson, but the layperson who wants to know a little bit more about how things work. So it's a great resource.
Dr. Ruwat, can you take a quick question?
Sure.
Robert from Bellows Falls. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live with Dr. Ruwat. Do I have the wrong button pushed here? Robert?
Pardon me?
Yep, go ahead.
My question is, I heard you talking about fish oil, and I wonder what your feelings about cannabis oil would be.
Thanks for the call.
Well, actually, that's a great question, Robert, because cannabis used to be in the pharmacopoeia, as a drug that doctors used to use before the Marijuana Tax Act was
Right. They didn't even know that marijuana was cannabis, I think, when the law was passed. The people voting on it.
That's right. So cannabis is got a lot of medicinal properties. And, of course, you can see what's happening across the U.S. Medical cannabis is being legalized and recreational cannabis is being legalized. That's great.
Yeah, I've heard people say that they didn't think that cannabis had any medicinal value, and I think it's interesting how somebody who has, no training whatsoever as a physician can come to a conclusion like this. It's interesting what democracy has done to people's opinions, as though yours matters. But it does here on Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Hey, this is Ricky from Banyan Hill. You like freedom? I do. You like money? I do too. If you like freedom and money, then you're going to love Freedom Checks. You see, over the next few months, an estimated $34.6 billion is up for grabs to anyone who stakes their claim. Yep, you heard that right. $34.6 billion. To get all the details, just go to www.americanfreedomchecks.com. Thousands of people are already lined up to cash in. Take Doug, for example. He's a 46-year-old from Joplin, Missouri who's set to get a check for $24,075. And if Doug can do this, I've got a hunch that you can too. But here's the thing. If you want the chance to grab your full fair share of this $34.6 billion payout, you must have your ducks in a row by May 1st. So don't wait. Get over to www.americanfreedomchecks.com before May 1st. That's www.americanfreedomchecks.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. The number, if you'd like to call in and participate, is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We have Dr. Ruwat. And Dr. Ruwat is a longtime medical researcher who has written a book about exposing the FDA called Death by Regulation. And I think it's very timely considering the Right to Try movement and the successes and failures it's had recently. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl. And this November, I will be running the world's biggest, most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon. I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since being founded in 1992, they've helped 200 people who have been wrongly convicted get freed. Some of those people, unfortunately, wound up taking pleas for crimes they knew they did not commit. But thanks to uncovering DNA evidence, the Innocence Project is helping get people exonerated, again, for crimes they did not commit. And with your help, they can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As a part of Team Innocence Project, I'm raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fees. I've already got the travel, the lodging, all of that covered. But to secure my spot on Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. I've secured some matching funds, and right now I still have about $1,100 that can be covered by matching funds. So if you want to double your donation, go to run.freetalklive.com sooner rather than later. Run.freetalklive.com, and all of the money that gets raised through run.freetalklive.com goes directly to the Innocence Project. The system is set up to where when you donate, you cover those credit card fees so that none of that comes out of what goes to the Innocence Project.
And your story is quite a change. I mean, I don't know how many years ago it was, but it wasn't too long, too far in the
3 years ago.
Distant past that you were a big doughy mess.
Yes.
And now you're a marathon running madman. And I got to say, I'm inspired enough to give some of those matching funds, and
Yes.
I sincerely hope that you can reach your numbers and benefit the Innocence Project in the process.
Yes.
I think that's
And
just a double benefit.
I know that I will wind up being able to reach the goal. I just want to reach it sooner rather than later.
So you don't have to think about it.
Right. And I've heard from other people that have done the charity runs before to where they say, yeah, raising funds is a full-time job.
Run.freetalklive.com. Make it so it's not Darryl's full-time job. So, bringing back, because I'm not going to stand for that. Bringing back Dr. Ruwat. Jonny Ray, you had some particular questions about I don't know. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Ruwat, as an ethicist, have you been following this character Josiah Zayner, the biohacker? Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't. No, enlighten me.
Okay, well, I'll do the best I can. He's a biohacker. He runs a company called the Odin. One of the things they do is they sell people kits to engineer yeast with a jellyfish protein to make the yeast to make beer that glows in the dark. He used CRISPR he injected himself with something that he made with CRISPR.
This has nothing to do with glow-in-the-dark beer, right?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe he did inject himself with glow-in-the-dark beer.
Well, I'll ingest it just to give it a shot, but
I think it has to do with glow-in-the-dark beer, and that the means are kind of the same, altering the DNA of himself in this case. He injected himself with something to make himself ripped. Give himself big muscles.
That work?
I don't think that it did, and I think it rarely does.
All right.
He gave himself a fecal transplant.
This sounds awful. Go ahead.
And so me personally, I'm a kind of a crazy black flag anarchist, and I just like for people to be totally free. I think that
somebody giving themselves a fecal transplant sounds free.
I think that I don't think that God gave us a world that I don't think he gave us the ability to destroy it with biohacking and so forth. So he's kind of butting heads. Like the FDA had a problem with his glow in the dark beer because they said it was a food coloring.
I did hear about this. I just didn't recognize the name.
Yeah. Does this kind of activity worry you? Are we going to create something that could destroy the world?
Glow-in-the-dark trees on the side of the road. What if it gets loose?
Well, actually, I don't think it's probably as much of an issue right now as we might think. But it's always, let's face it, it's not, because of the interdependence of our society, it's actually not hard for someone to get in there and screw things up, as it would have been, say, a couple hundred years ago. And that's the price we pay for interdependence, and I don't think I don't see this as a big issue for someone going out and changing us all genetically in the near future. But it could happen down the road, of course.
Yeah, it's these are questions that people are asking all the time, is what are humans going to do when they have these abilities? And I don't think there's anything that could stop it if they have that ability.
No, there isn't. It'll go underground if they try to stop it.
If the FDA tries to stop these sorts of things, you can always move your lab to St. Kitts or something.
Well, and actually that's what has happened with advanced stem cell research. We had some very good research going on here. There was a doctor in Colorado who was taking stem cells out of people and multiplying them and then putting them back in to help them with mostly with orthopedic type problems. And he was very successful.
Is that bones? Bones or feet?
I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I need to make sure I'm using things that, terms that everyone will understand. But what happened is the FDA said if you take those stem cells out of the body and grow them in a test tube for a week so that there's enough of them to really do the job, then they're drugs. They're manipulated. Therefore, they're drugs. So basically, they moved it all offshore so that they could continue to give their patients what they really needed. And this was a big court battle, actually, and the FDA won. And of course, the FDA always has an edge in such battles because what it does, if it gets a verdict it doesn't like, it just keeps appealing until it finally does get the verdict it liked. And that's what happened that's why Right to Try is going on, because the cancer patients sued the FDA because they wanted to be able to take drugs that had not been fully developed yet, because, terminally ill patients don't have long. And so they said that, the Constitution protects the right to do that. And the courts at first agreed with them, but the FDA asked the courts to reconsider, and they did. And then they said that
you're right.
Save our lives with unapproved drugs. And basically the Right to Try movement is doing state by state what these cancer patients were trying to do. And then it ended up in Congress, which is a great thing. But the problem with Right to Try is it requires the drug manufacturer to stay in FDA's good graces. And of course, as soon as they start negotiating directly with patients, it's likely that at least some FDA examiners will be very upset with that. And start dragging their feet and punishing the companies for doing that. So it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you don't want to make the bureaucrats mad. They have 1,000 ways to kill off your product slowly without anyone ever really knowing. That's just, That's just the nature of bureaucrats. I'm curious, if you take something natural and modify it for over a period of time, I mean, is then sauerkraut and kimchi, are these things drugs?
No, you can modify it. You just can't make health claims.
Oh, I see. You can modify it, but not make health claims.
That's right.
It's deathbyregulation.us. Is that correct, Dr. Ruwat?
That's right. If your listeners want to take advantage of the $60 worth of free gifts that come with buying the book, they can.
Can you describe some of those to me real quick?
Sure. Well, some of them are a free copy of the digital version of Healing Our World,
okay.
A $5 discount on my anything on my website, and $5 off free to choose medicine, which the Heartland Institute just put out for the 3rd edition. And I encourage your listeners to get that because it's actually a more conservative approach to reforming the FDA than I propose in my book. So the good news is my book is making free to choose medicine look conservative, and hopefully will make it be accepted by Congress. And if it is, I think it will be even a better program than Right to Try.
And I'm on the website right now. There's also a complimentary copy of one of my favorite libertarian fiction books, The Adventures of Jonathan Gullible.
Yes.
I love that book.
Oh, yes. And I've included all of the illustrations that don't normally come in the commentary edition, which is what, your listeners will get. So, that's a very wonderful thing, too. And there's a $10 off coupon for life extension products.
I'm curious about that, too. Dr. Ruwat, normally we wouldn't hold you over through the top of the hour, but I do have a question from a listener. Can you hold?
Sure.
That's kind of you. The number's...
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, March 25th, 2018. Silver's trading at $16.56 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,347 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $19, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,553. Antiwar.com reports the Syrian military is approaching a complete victory in the Damascus suburb of eastern Ghouta. Douma is effectively the last city still under total rebel control for a while, though no agreement remains on withdrawal. On Friday, rebels were withdrawing from Harasta as part of a ceasefire deal reached with Russia. Later in the evening, rebels reportedly agreed to withdraw from Arben, Jobar, and other areas in the district's far south. Civilians continued to flee from Douma, but the rebels tunnels themselves remain dug in, and Syrian and Russian warplanes continue to carry out airstrikes against the city. As of Saturday evening, there was no word of negotiations on a formal withdrawal from Douma. A month ago, eastern Ghouta was the last major rebel-held territory near the capital. In the course of the ongoing offensive, the Syrian military has retaken the overwhelming majority of the territory, limiting rebel access to the capital.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a Houston, Texas businessman filed a class action lawsuit in federal court on Friday against Facebook for sharing personal data of nearly 50 million Facebook users with Cambridge Analytica, a company accused of using the information to post targeted political advertisements for President Donald Trump. The lawsuit, filed by Matthew Ladowski, also targets Cambridge Analytica for its role in mining the private data. Other defendants include Robert Leroy Mercer, a wealthy New York investor in Cambridge Analytica, and Alexander Kogan, a professor at Cambridge University. The suit aims to collect about $50 billion in damages based on a federal statute that allows up to $1,000 per violation. Ladowski is accusing the social media giant of conspiracy and negligence by failing to protect user data, failing to take reasonable measures to avert problems when it learned the company had obtained users' personal information without permission, and failing to let users know their data had been taken until journalists broke the story. The suit also claims a violation of the Stored Communications Act, a law that allows online users to file lawsuits over intentional access without authorization to a facility through which an electronic communication service is provided. The class action includes any U.S. Facebook user whose data was impacted by Cambridge Analytica's data breach and seeks compensatory damages, restitution, and fees, and an injunction against Cambridge Analytica and the professor at Cambridge University named in the suit. Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who said the company is trying to resolve the problem and prevent further issues, said in a statement the company will investigate apps with access to large amounts of user information, further restrict developers' access to data, and place a tool on the top of a user's feed to show which apps have access to their information.
Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io.
Reuters reports voter registration activists fanned out among young Americans who marched for tighter gun laws on Saturday, signing up thousands of first-time voters who vowed to eject lawmakers who opposed new gun control laws. With midterm congressional elections 8 months away, the activists flocked to some 800 marches across the country to enroll young voters likely to back Democratic and independent candidates who tend to favor tougher firearm laws. In Washington, volunteers for the headcount voter registration efforts raised their fist and chanted, "Demonstration without registration leads to frustration," before heading out with clipboards to sign up some of the nation's newest voters. Organizers of the registration drive hope to sign up at least 25,000 new voters on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a groundbreaking new study published Thursday in the New England Journal of Medicine, psychologists have discovered that the average person, while ostensibly appearing to be normal and mentally sound in their day-to-day lives, immediately becomes a deranged psychotic when alone at home.
We observed hundreds of subjects with successful careers, numerous friends, and loving families. Perfectly normal. But as soon as they were at their homes by themselves, they began presenting behavior consistent with those suffering from dementia, schizophrenia, and various other acute mental illnesses.
Researchers illustrated the study's findings with footage of 29-year-old test subject Brian Temple, who, despite having a steady job and maintaining an ordinary social life, exhibited increasingly erratic and unstable activity from the moment he was alone in his apartment, including dancing in his kitchen to no music whatsoever.
He has come in.
making grotesque faces in the mirror for extended periods of time, and seemingly having conversations with no one in particular.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Kicking off the second hour of this Sunday's live edition of Free Talk Live. Give us a call. The number's 855-450-3733. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
I forgot to tell folks that about the Discord chat. Darryl, can you tell a bit more about that? Because I'm still kind of new to all this.
Yeah, there's a thing called Discord that apparently has some trolls, but also has some regular people.
Discord.freetalklive.com is the way to find it?
Discord.lrn.fm.
Sorry.
The discord.freetalklive.com might also go there. I know that discord.lrn.fm goes there, and there are chat rooms specific for different things on LRN. There's also, I believe, an AMP-specific chat thing in the Discord, and there's a way that you can do a call-in through Discord to where it's kind of like Skype, but different.
Thank you for that the riveting info. I just don't know how to use it all that much. I do go in there and I talk with people. It's easy to use.
That's more than what I do.
Yeah, well, there you go. So anyway, we've got Dr. Ruwat on here talking about her new book, Death by Regulation. And you can find that at deathbyregulation.us. And we actually had somebody on the line to ask a question. They've dropped off, so we're going to have to ask the questions in order to, fill this out is basically how it goes. So when you were doing your research for this book, I think that you're of, very, very few people who would be able to write this book, this sort of expose on the FDA and how, it harms people, because you were doing, you sort of, that was your career, is medical research, right?
That's right. I lived through the changes of the amendments, and I knew things were bad, but until I actually started putting together all the published literature, I didn't realize how bad it really was. And, we used to actually have some gallows humor in my lab where we would say, yeah, we're so busy meeting all these regulations, we don't have time to discover new drugs that'll cure things. And even when we did, we didn't always get a chance to put them on the market. I remember one time the FDA actually called me up and said, Dr. Ruwat, we're really excited. We understand you just applied for a patent for prostaglandins and liver disease. And by the way, since we talked about fish oil earlier, the prostaglandins are the icosanoids are what is built from fish oil. That's why you take fish oil, to get the, quote, good prostaglandins or good icosanoids. So the FDA was really excited about helping us get this on the market. But when you have something new, you don't know how much you need to give. You don't know how often you need to give it. You don't know how many patients you need in your study to get the statistical significance that the FDA wants. There are so many unknowns, and if you don't guess right on each one of them, you'll have to do the study over if it doesn't meet those statistical significance requirements. And what the company realized is if we had to repeat the studies, it would go generic. The drug would go generic the first day it was on the market. We'd never ever recover our development costs, so we didn't do it. And this is why a lot of drugs that could actually really save people's lives stay on the shelves of the pharmaceutical companies and never get out the door.
And there's, I don't know if it's an urban legend, but it's something that I've definitely heard repeated often, is that if aspirin were being brought to market today, it would never wind up getting FDA approval.
That's right, because it causes ulcers in animals when you give large doses, and that's part of what the FDA has us do, is give like 100 times more than the dose we want to give in people.
Seems like a bad idea.
Well, the idea is hopefully we'll know which organ is going to be adversely affected, right?
Okay.
That doesn't always work that way because animals and people are different. So you really only get about half of the you only get tips for about half of what's going to happen. And that's why when drugs get on the market, sometimes they have effects that haven't been seen before or haven't been seen much because our human studies, have limited numbers of people. So maybe you have 1,000 or 2 people in your human studies, but when it goes on the market, hundreds of thousands of people will take it, for example. And so things show up that didn't show up in the studies. And aspirin is probably the biggest life-saving drug of all time. So
because it's a blood thinner.
Well, yes. I mean, it actually, what it does, again, it influences the prostaglandin cascade that I just talked about. And what it does is it helps your body create prostaglandins, the ones that keep your blood from clumping, so you don't have a heart attack when you normally would. I was actually my one of my colleagues asked me to come to their laboratory and watch an experiment based on this. They were putting, they had an anesthetized dog and they put a tie around the coronary artery, which is where heart attacks usually happen. And they mimicked the plaque formation and the narrowing of that artery by taking a tie and just tying down. But if they gave the dogs prostacyclin, which is a type of prostaglandin, the animals didn't have a heart attack, until you basically shut off all the blood flow. So, clots did not form. And that's one of the reasons you take fish oil, because you want to encourage the formation of what we call the good prostaglandins that, keep your blood from clotting prematurely.
What about a small low-dose aspirin daily for adults? I've heard of this.
Yes,
too.
and that's what it does is it helps shift the prostaglandin cascade so you produce more of this prostacyclin that we just talked about.
Okay. Jesse from Colorado has a question.
Yes, Jesse.
Jesse, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you.
Good. I found out, I've been studying it over the years with holistic medicine and herbs, but also with, the aggravation of dealing with the FDA and pharmaceutical companies, that when they were formed in the first place, or when the FDA was formed in the first place, government rejected it and told the pharmaceuticals, if you want this thing so bad, because the pharmaceutical company was the one, or companies, were the ones that came to the president's office and then to have the people that were needed to be able to set up the organization in the government. They said, if you want this thing so dadgum bad, you pay the bill, and you pay everybody in it. So that's what they did. Government doesn't pay them. It's not out of government salary. It's all out of pharmaceutical paychecks.
Thanks for the call, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure that's exactly right. I think you might be referring to the 92 Prescription Drug User Fee Act. I'm not quite sure because it could be you're talking about the 1938 laws that were passed. But what happens today is there are user fees, that's what they call them anyhow, that the drug companies pay to get rapid approval. And what the FDA does is takes that money and hires more examiners. And I think the latest number that I saw was that between 50 and 70% of those salaries were paid for by this user fee system. And of course, as you know, Jesse, because I think that's what you're kind of really getting at, that really changes the dynamics of what the FDA does, because the FDA now considers the pharmaceutical industry their client. And that's what they told one of the FDA people who was distraught about the idea of them approving Vioxx. Dr. David Graham went to his supervisor and said, we shouldn't approve Vioxx, it's dangerous. And his supervisor told him that the pharmaceutical industry was their client, not the American people, not Congress.
That's how regulation always works is, the big companies stock the bureaucrats. They move back and forth between, lobbying jobs and the corporate jobs and the government jobs, public sector jobs, these kind of things. Dr. Ruwat, thank you so much for spending some time with us. It's deathbyregulation.us.
Yes.
And if you get your book now, you get $60 in bonus stuff. It's deathbyregulation.us. Thanks so much, Dr. Ruwat.
And thank you for having me on, and good day to your listeners.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.fm now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number, if you'd like to call in and participate in this evening's show, is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We also have a Skype channel. What do you call that? Skype option? You can call in on Skype.
You can call us on Skype.
Yeah. So our username there is lrn.fm. And you'll sound great. It's a nice connection. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a Skype call here very shortly. I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com really is that one-stop shop, the place that you should go, whether you're new or an expert. If you want to find out about cryptocurrency, you need resources regarding cryptocurrency. You want to buy some cryptocurrency. You want to mine cryptocurrency. You need a wallet app to hold your cryptocurrency. You want to discuss it with other folks. It's Bitcoin.com. You want the latest news on cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. And they've got it all over there, and it's a great site. There's no doubt about it. So it's Bitcoin.com. Let's go to the phones here. It's Chernobyl Kursk calling in on Skype. Chernobyl?
Hello, are you there?
Or would you prefer Mr. Kursk?
It's Zach from Ithaca. How are you?
All right. What's on your mind, Zach?
I just watched the Stormy Daniels thing.
Oh, the Stormy Daniels interview. Did you get a good look at her large and interesting personality?
I Googled Stormy Daniels anal earlier, if that's what you're getting at.
Hold on. So what interview?
She was on 60 Minutes. People were having parties, to watch, where basically she talked about how she met the president and he was being kind of arrogant. She spanked him with his own magazine that he was on the cover of. He became much more respectful. She wasn't attracted to him. They slept together. And then years later, she got threatened in a parking lot by some goon who said, stay away, don't talk about Trump. Was later paid off $130,000 like 10 days before the campaign, and is now going on TV, saying that she's telling her side of the story, so to speak. But they're trying to spin this into campaign finance law breaking because of the payoff. It seems like they're just on a big fishing expedition here. Anyway.
Well, they want to talk about something that's interesting, and people get infidelity. They may not get campaign finance law.
Well, I mean, if you're the president of the United States and porn stars are saying that, when I was 25 years old, I slept with you, and I mean, that's not really embarrassing where I'm coming from. I'm of the belief that Hillary Clinton was sleeping with Huma Abedin. So Trump sleeping with hot porn stars when he was married doesn't really bother me at all.
It doesn't bother me, but I imagine because as I understand it, this occurred while he was married to Melania. Is that her name? Yeah, Melania.
Yeah, and while he was doing The Apprentice, and he wasn't apparently very, secretive about it. He was stringing her along, promising her she could get some work potentially on the show, and she said she knew it was what it was. He was just stringing her along, so. But now she's, a 39-year-old porn star whose, porn career is
washed up.
It was kind of over, but now she can just talk about how she was essentially a whore her entire life and maybe capitalize on that. I don't envy her position right now.
I don't envy his either.
I can't say that I had ever heard of her prior to the whole thing of something with Donald Trump. And is there something weird going on with your connection to where it sounds like you are switching between something?
No, I'm on an iPad 2 and a little handset thing I got for 99 cents. Is it a terrible connection?
That might be the issue.
No, it's not necessarily a bad connection, but there's a considerable or a noticeable change in
audio.
Audio.
Yeah. Both connections are fine. They're just different, and it seems to be switching back and forth.
I'm on a thrift store handset through a secondhand iPad through a Wi-Fi connection. So
okay,
all these might be the issue.
Miracle that we're even talking to each other.
It really is.
But I also
miracle
noticed,
that is the internet.
I also noticed the weird differences when the GPS will just change the tone of voice when giving me instructions.
Well, there you go. Thanks for the call, Zach. Appreciate it. The number is 855-450-3733 or lrn.fm on Skype. Let's go to Chet calling in from Sarasota. Chet, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, hey, I just was listening before
you were talking about some different oils with that doctor?
Yeah, Dr. Ruwat was talking about fish oil, cannabis oil, variety of things. Yeah.
Yeah, you little pothead started talking about cannabis oil.
Uh-huh.
Somebody called in and asked her about cannabis oil.
I don't think I'm a pothead, but go ahead.
I was just wondering if you two ever heard of snake oil?
Yeah, well, snake oil, it's a euphemism for fake medical products.
Yeah, Larry Kudlow sells it on his show to help saggy eye bags.
I think I'd eat that.
Yeah,
saggy eye bags?
I think fish oil salesmen are pretty like. I would say New Hampshire's kind of fecund with snake oil salesmen. You know what I mean?
No.
I have no clue what you mean.
But I like the voice change.
I mean, you guys are salesmen, right? You guys are salesmen.
I'm a talk radio host, and Dr. Ruwat is a longtime medical researcher. What do you do?
Oh, but you guys are peddling kind of snake oil here. Are you libertarians?
I didn't sell.
What?
What a second. I didn't sell you any fish oil. I didn't say one product
Why are you trying
name.
to sell a libertarian ideology? Why?
It's weird.
Are you high?
No, but you guys are really, really dumb.
Okay, we're dumb.
Wow. Thank you for the call.
Appreciate it. Okay, so I suppose I am selling the libertarian ideology and that I believe in it. And I think that morally it is the only consistent ideology out there. And usually to attack it, you have to leave the realm of morality, right? Like you have to say at some point or another that violence against your neighbor is acceptable. The initiation of violence against your neighbor is acceptable. And that's, look, as long as we can agree that violence against your neighbor is something that should be avoided, then we can have a conversation about what is practical. But if we can't have a conversation about that, it's okay. Like, for instance, this gun debate that's roaming around the news right now. This isn't a debate on whether or not AR-15s should exist. This is a debate as to whether civilians should be able to have AR-15s and whether the police and the military should be the only ones to have it. You aren't against AR-15s. You're against AR-15s in the hands of free men. That's your problem. And that's what it comes down to. So, yeah, thanks, Chet, for the opportunity to push my agenda. Because I was just talking about Stormy Daniels and fish oil, but now I get to push the gun debate. And did you guys get to see one of those high school students that are all the stars now? And she's like in her photo shoot, she's ripping the Constitution in half.
I saw
it's awesome.
I saw the GIF of that with like 4 little friends standing behind her.
Let's rip the Constitution in half.
I support that part of her agenda.
Yeah, well, you don't support it for the same reason she does, I can assure you. Number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Citing their effortless physical strength, affability, and notable bass tans, reports from the country's pools, lakes, and beaches have indicated that once again, the nation's Blakes coasted effortlessly through this year's seasonal lifeguard tryouts. Onion reporters spoke with Cincinnati Centennial Pool's manager, Charles Walker, about the exceptional performance of his Blakes.
We always see strong performances from Blakes, but this year's crop did especially well. Blake D did the 25-yard underwater swim in 86 seconds. Blake S and Blake C both carried subjects 40 yards without breaking a sweat.
In addition to qualifying as pool managers and certified aquatics instructors, the nation's Blakes significantly outshined the nation's Stewarts in swimming, performing CPR, diving, and glistening.
I'm definitely looking forward to being a lifeguard this summer. I heard the test was kind of hard, but it was actually kind of easy.
Our Kaylas are looking pretty strong too. As long as we have a few Blakes and Kaylas out there on the weekends, we'll be set.
This is the Onion News Network.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's live Sunday edition. You can call in, talk about whatever you want. Call in and call us stupid. It's awesome. My name's Mark.
My name is Johnny Ray.
And I go by a lot of things, but you can call me Darryl.
I'll call you stupid. That's what the other caller did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, one of my favorite things to talk about, Darryl, as you know, is Atlantic Standard Time.
Yes.
It's a new favorite of mine.
Yes.
And
I'm a fan.
Yep. An older favorite of mine is Zencash. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, and values, so it's a cryptocurrency that has sort of a communications aspect to it. They can be securely transmitted and stored with over 7,500 secured nodes. There's over 8,000 now. Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. It's a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists, for voluntarists, that's us here, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. I unabashedly support Zencash. I think it's a great project. Zencash.com. I also believe that, frankly, it is pricing right now. My belief is there's going to be a breakout. I'm watching the cryptocurrency markets closely. I believe there's going to be a breakout. I believe you're going to see an increase in altcoins versus Bitcoin, which I believe you're going to see an increase into Bitcoin Core. So I'm of the opinion what I see in Zencash as far as pricing goes, that it's a real bargain right now.
Yes.
It's lower than when I got in. So I could just say, hey, bail. I'm not willing to say that. I really believe it's a great project. And they've got people doing marketing all over the world. So Zencash.com. Atlantic Standard Time. Tell me the good news, Darryl.
Well, the article that I have here is from someone that's not a fan.
Okay.
Of
now,
Atlantic
it did
Standard
recently
Time.
pass. It was signed by the Florida governor. So Florida, if approved, if the United States Congress decides to let them do it,
yes,
they will go on Atlantic Standard Time. Now, interestingly, Florida's not
most of the state, because there is that tiny little part that's on Central that would then move to Eastern.
Yeah.
Yes. So this would have the effect of going to permanent DST, permanent daylight shifting, which right now is not allowed under federal law. So federal law, there was a question from Ian when we were talking about this before the show, where he said, well, how does Arizona get away with this? Well, Arizona doesn't participate in DST. The federal law says you can either participate in DST or not.
Right.
And those are the two options.
You use the term daylight shifting time because
you're shifting, you're not saving anything.
Right. There's nothing's being saved. If you cut the bottom of your blanket off and sew it onto the top, you haven't saved anything.
Correct.
You have shifted something. And I think it's more accurate. Plus the fact that it really irks you when people say daylight savings time rather than daylight saving time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And so the proposal here is not just to not participate in DST. Again, federal law does not allow a state to go to permanent DST. The only way to do that, in effect, is to change time zones and then not participate in DST.
Right. So, effectively, if you're in the Eastern time zone, this works for pretty much all the time.
Right now,
we
now
are in
on
America,
Atlantic Standard Time on the East Coast.
Correct. So, if you're in the Central time zone, you're in Eastern time. If you're in the Mountain time zone, you're on Central time. And if you're in Pacific time, the Pacific time zone, Pacific Daylight Time is Mountain Standard Time.
Yes.
So I found this very interesting because I didn't like daylight savings time. I don't like changing the clocks. I don't like the whole experience. I'm still not recovered from over a week now.
Nor am I. It's totally messed with my brain.
And I just don't like it. I don't like the experience. I don't think they've shown that more deaths occur, heart attacks, accidents because people are drowsy, all kinds of things. Productivity is lost on the day after and probably days after that, but productivity is lost in business. It is a costly and stupid anachronism that has no value.
Correct.
I think the biggest value is that during the coldest and bleakest parts of the year, that you have an hour in the morning when the kids are at school as opposed to in the evening when they might be going out to play. I think that's the biggest argument for daylight shifting time, and it is just not good enough compared to dead people. I mean, people die because of this idea, and it was just positive. The only reason it exists is because it has existed.
So let's get into this article from somebody that doesn't like the idea here of Florida changing time zones. And we should point out that there has been legislation pending in several New England states to have New England join the Atlantic time zone and not participate in DST.
I rarely write my reps. And even more rarely do I get a response. But I did write my reps recommending that any opportunity they have to vote in Atlantic Standard Time, that they should do it. One rep wrote me back, which I was amazed at.
Right.
And by the way, most of them didn't open the emails that I even sent.
Of course not.
This is the the pointlessness of government generally. But one of them wrote me back wanting to sort of debate a little bit the notion, and essentially said, hey, look, New England's part of, or New Hampshire's part of New England. New England needs to do it all at once, so we can't do it because they haven't all done it. Well, lead the way. I mean, you're a leader. That's the
claim. First in the nation, right?
Just go ahead and do it.
That only applies to the primary and nothing else, but we're still going to throw it around.
Indeed.
So article here actually from a sports website. And again, the guy writing this, he's not a fan, and I can't actually, because of language used in the headline, I can't read the headline to you on the radio.
You could use some kind of fill-in word.
Bleep! Florida legislators plan to move to Atlantic Standard Time will wreak havoc on sports.
Well, okay.
You can fill in the bleep.
My TV is going to suffer? Is that the...
So he says Florida's heavily GOP legislature last month pushed through a bill that would move most of the state out of a daylight saving time observing Eastern time zone and into year-round Atlantic Standard Time. Senator Marco Rubio announced plans to confirm the change in an act of Congress. This is a bad idea.
Okay.
Setting aside the standard time events that will be thrown out of sync by moving Florida to the Atlantic time zone.
Wait a second. Okay, so Free Talk Live it basically uses an Eastern Standard Time broadcast calendar or whatever. Right?
Actually, I think we're based on Central Time because that's where the syndicate is located.
Genesis Communications Network broadcasts on a Central Time zone, but when we talk about time here on Free Talk Live,
yes,
when we place it in Eastern.
Yes.
And I think that, if Eastern time was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. And ultimately...
I can't even unpack that, but continue.
It's a joke about the old King James version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of what
young people, you can dig around for it if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if we went to Atlantic time here in New Hampshire, let's presume New Hampshire and Florida have the cojones, as it were, to move to Atlantic time.
Along with Massachusetts and Maine, because that's part of what the New Hampshire change was based on, was Massachusetts.
But let's just say New Hampshire, at this point, that law is sunk and something new could come along. I say we just go ahead and do it and let Maine and Massachusetts catch up next year. Anyway,
well, Massachusetts is probably going to go ahead and do it anyway.
As they should. But it's a shame that New Hampshire has to follow them. Right. So let's say that this occurs. Atlantic time zone, we move forward. We, as a show, are still going to have to follow our Eastern time zone affiliates. We're going to have to do the show at different times and that kind of thing. Sometimes it'll have to be 6 o'clock when we start. Sometimes it'll be 7. Whatever. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Eastern time is mostly Atlantic Standard. Eastern Daylight Time is Atlantic Standard Time anyway. So you're on that calendar 8 months out of the year.
Right.
Big, fat, hairy deal. It's not going to mess with too much of anything. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
This is Darryl W. Perry, host of Free Talk Live. This November, I'll be running in the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, and I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since 1989, 353 people in the United States have been exonerated by DNA testing, including 38 who pled guilty to crimes they did not commit, and 20 of whom served time on death row. The Innocence Project provided direct representation or critical assistance in 180 of these cases. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As part of Team Innocence Project, I'm raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fees. However, to secure my spot on Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. You can support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry by going to run.freetalklive.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain, I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free here on this live edition of Free Talk Live. It's Sunday night. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
And we're talking about, well, one of my favorite subjects, which is Atlantic Standard Time and the idea of basically doing away with daylight shifting time. I don't like it. It's highly unproductive. It kills people. Like, really,
Yes.
no joke. Daylight savings time kills people. People get in automobile accidents because they're drowsy. They've lost an hour of work or whatever. Their systems, their bodies revolt. Strokes, heart attacks, these sorts of things go up shortly after daylight savings time. It just full on kills people. And whatever benefit, I'd love to hear what the benefit you think of is Free Talk Live. I will set aside my vitriol to listen to whatever the benefit is. I hope that it is of consequence, not like, just...
But the farmers actually, 102 years ago, the farmers advocated against changing the clocks.
Well, so 100 years ago, there were a heck of a lot more farmers than there are today. I don't think we should be changing the calendar based on what the farmers want.
Right, but no.
All the best to the farmers out there.
But there's
they
a
get up by the sunlight anyway.
Right, but there's a claim that farmers want the clocks to change. No, they don't. They don't, because then it messes with the schedule of the animals who were doing all their stuff based on when the sun comes up anyway.
The animals don't tell time. I don't think it. I think it's just a completely.
Everybody has an internal clock, including animals.
Agreed.
And when you start changing the way time goes because government.
But I think it's a spurious claim what you're saying, Darryl, because I had animals till recently. The pigs went to heaven.
You've
by the way.
Still got a cat.
A cat, right? The cat doesn't care.
Right, because your cat's not fed on a schedule.
The pigs didn't care. They were fed on a schedule, but the schedule was based on the sun, not on the time. So the farmers are just going to adjust their schedules. This is the thing. It's like we're all automatons, and somehow when the government changes the clock, no. You don't have to do that. The farmers aren't going to change their schedule. They're going to get up with sunrise, if that's when they get up, anyway. So if sunrise is at 5 a.m., it's at 6 a.m. or whatever, that's when they're going to get up. It doesn't matter. Your stupid change of the clock doesn't matter.
They're adjusting their clocks based on your change of the clock, so just don't change the damn clocks.
Indeed. Let me tell you about Liberty.menu. For years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses where, we've decided to help build one. It's liberty.menu. It's a tool for your community. As it's at its core, it's a directory for events and businesses and digital content and more. So listings can be rated and reviewed, and then there's a bit of a social network aspect so that you can connect and share with others. Use of liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and for those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu and use coupon code FTL to get a special badge. It's liberty.menu. Go there right now and list your business, your organization, these sorts of things. Liberty.menu.
So let's get back into the article here from some guy, Timothy Burke, writing at Deadspin, who he's not a fan of Florida changing to Atlantic Standard Time.
And he's making a big deal about it, so I'm going to make a big deal about his making a big deal about it.
He says, setting aside the standard time events that will be thrown out of sync by moving Florida to the Atlantic time zone, the Times Square ball won't drop until 1 a.m. on New Year's Day. Election polls in Florida.
Who cares about the Times Square ball? I mean, if you're sitting in Chicago,
1 million people watch it on television.
I'm sure they do. We can drop a pineapple in Miami, and you can take your ball and put it right up your big old apple spot. I don't care about your ball in Times Square.
Polls in Florida will close an hour before anywhere else on Election Day.
Whoopee.
So they still can't release the results.
Polls in New Hampshire
at
what is it? Dixville Notch close at midnight.
There are 4 places that vote at midnight, but Dixville's the only one that anybody cares about.
Right.
The Academy Awards will run past midnight.
So what?
The change would thoroughly screw up college and professional sports in Florida during the 4.5 months of standard time. It's not 4.5 months. It's 8 months.
Of standard time? No, it's daylight time is 8 months.
Oh, wait,
you got that
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, you've got that wrong. So, look, if those college games, the people that broadcast those college games are going to care about what time it is in the Eastern time zone, and they're going to adjust accordingly. Effectively, many things that occur media-wise in Florida are going to have to occur on the Eastern clock.
So I'm going to use this guy's
4
arguments.
months out of the year.
I'm going to use this guy's arguments on why Hawaii should just wind up being a separate country, because when the University of Hawaii has a football game, nobody on the East Coast can watch it because it kicks off at 2 o'clock in the morning.
There you go.
This guy's just making absolutely stupid claims. He continues, any Sunday night, Monday night, or Thursday night football game hosted by the Jaguars, Buccaneers, or Dolphins in the last half of the season would kick off at 9:30 p.m. and end well after midnight.
Why would that happen? NBC, CBS, whomever handles Monday Night Football, and I don't know, and I think it changes year to year, they can handle this, really. They have the technology. They have the brain power to figure out, looks like Atlantic time zone's a little complicated for the rest of us here. Why don't we just kick this off an hour early? Everybody in agreement? Oh, yeah? No problem? Bob? Well, Bob, you've always had bad ideas, so bye, Bob.
The reason it might be a problem, and I'm using air quotes there, is that, so we're changing the time that Monday Night Football starts on this one week, but every other week, and then when you start...
No, you don't, though. So look,
you're saying only the games that kick off in Florida would wind up having an earlier start time on Monday Night Football.
No, they'd have the same.
They only have one Monday Night Football game a week.
I understand. Okay, listen. So, do they have that Monday Night Football game? Is it played in time zones other than Eastern? Is it played in Central, Mountain, or Pacific time?
Yes, okay. And the kickoff time is always the same time Eastern.
Agreed. That's what they'll do. They'll kick it off Eastern time zone.
And that's what he's saying. It would kick off at 9:30 local time.
In Florida.
Which would end the game after midnight in Florida.
Problem.
That's why he's saying it's a bad idea.
Fine.
He's saying it's a bad idea for Florida. It's not a bad idea for California that Florida's changing a time zone.
Right. Okay, just to be clear, I don't care what he has to say on it. I mean, they'll figure it out.
You're the one that asked me what he had to say about it.
No. I was thinking that he was saying that you could not. This just can't be done. We can't figure out how to switch to time.
No, he's saying it's a bad idea for Florida to change the time zone in Florida.
That's something they're going to have to figure out.
Yes. He then talks about nationally broadcast basketball games would tip off extra late. Hockey games would start extra late, and then the people in Florida. I think the point he's trying to say here is that the athletic teams in Florida would wind up seeing their attendance drop if they're playing late games, because nobody's going to want to stay at the stadium until 1 o'clock in the morning and then fight traffic to get home at 3 o'clock in the morning and then have to be at work at 8 o'clock on Tuesday.
So some games will probably just change the time that they play in order to see better attendance. Others,
but Monday night football games,
Monday night football game cannot change. It has to be at the time that it's at.
Yes.
And then go ahead, and that's your problem. All right. Look, the people were yawning and complaining about how late Monday night football went in Florida in the Eastern time zone since I've been a kid.
Yes.
So now it's going to be an hour later. Tough noogies. I just don't care.
He continues, the more practical result, of course, is that these opportunities end up going elsewhere. Florida sports teams would simply lose out on national broadcasts between the first week of November and the second week of March. That's Florida's loss and everyone else's gain, which, to be honest, we're used to experiencing every time one of you bums from the Midwest moves down here.
Well, I agree completely. Where's this jerk from?
Deadspin.com.
See,
and I don't know what his
these Yankees move down to Florida all the time, and if they've been there for 20 years, they just consider themselves local. Well, I got this to say, too bad. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to explain it. I was born in Florida, lived in Florida my whole life, and yes, people come down, they have opinions, they vote. There's no way to handle it. There's no immigration issue that can be handled there. Humans are creatures that like to travel, and as long as you're going to have a democracy, people are going to want to give their opinions. This guy's wanting to give his opinion. I think he's got an interesting point here. Monday Night Football is going to be adversely affected. Well, I'm willing to give it up.
He's got some non-sports reasons as well.
I'd love to hear him. The number is 855-450-3733. At least he made a point. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, March 25th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.56 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,347 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $19, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,553. Antiwar.com reports the Syrian military is approaching a complete victory in the Damascus suburb of eastern Ghouta. Douma is effectively the last city still under total rebel control for a while, though no agreement remains on withdrawal. On Friday, rebels were withdrawing from Harasta as part of a ceasefire deal reached with Russia. Later in the evening, rebels reportedly agreed to withdraw from Arben, Jobar, and other areas in the district's far south. Civilians continued to flee from Douma, but the rebels themselves remain dug in, and Syrian and Russian warplanes continue to carry out airstrikes against the city. As of Saturday evening, there was no word of negotiations on a formal withdrawal from Douma. A month ago, eastern Ghouta was the last major rebel-held territory near the capital. In the course of the ongoing offensive, the Syrian military has retaken the overwhelming majority of the territory, limiting rebel access to the capital.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a Houston, Texas businessman filed a class action lawsuit in federal court on Friday against Facebook for sharing personal data of nearly 50 million Facebook users with Cambridge Analytica, a company accused of using the information to post targeted political advertisements for President Donald Trump. The lawsuit, filed by Matthew Ladowski, also targets Cambridge Analytica for its role in mining the private data. Other defendants include Robert Leroy Mercer, a wealthy New York investor in Cambridge Analytica, and Alexander Kogan, a professor at Cambridge University. The suit aims to collect about $50 billion in damages based on a federal statute that allows up to $1,000 per violation. Ladowski is accusing the social media giant of conspiracy and negligence by failing to protect user data, failing to take reasonable measures to avert problems when it learned the company had obtained users' personal information without permission, and failing to let users know their data had been taken until journalists broke the story. The suit also claims a violation of the Stored Communications Act, a law that allows online users to file lawsuits over intentional access without authorization to a facility through which an electronic communication service is provided. The class action includes any U.S. Facebook user whose data was impacted by Cambridge Analytica's data breach and seeks compensatory damages, restitution, and fees, and an injunction against Cambridge Analytica and the professor at Cambridge University named in the suit. Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who said the company is trying to resolve the problem and prevent further issues, said in a statement the company will investigate apps with access to large amounts of user information, further restrict developers' access to data, and place a tool on the top of a user's feed to show which apps have access to their information.
Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io.
Reuters reports voter registration activists fanned out among young Americans who marched for tighter gun laws on Saturday, signing up thousands of first-time voters who vowed to eject lawmakers who opposed new gun control laws. With midterm congressional elections 8 months away, the activists flocked to some 800 marches across the country to enroll young voters likely to back Democratic and independent candidates who tend to favor tougher firearm laws. In Washington, volunteers for the headcount voter registration efforts raised their fist and chanted, "Demonstration without registration leads to frustration," before heading out with clipboards to sign up some of the nation's newest voters. Organizers of the registration drive hope to sign up at least 25,000 new voters on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new video game is being criticized for its harsh portrayal of barbed wire. Here's Game Bite's Caitlin Torres with more.
Bethesda's The Evil Within is a nightmarish adventure that shows bloody and rusty barbed wire being used to hurt innocent people, which has angered the nation's barbed wire producers.
Barbed wire is a positive force for good. It protects our junkyards from scrap metal thieves and helps keep our cattle ranches safe from rustlers. But Bethesda thinks it's okay to ignore all the benefits of barbed wire and make it look like some scary thing used by murderers.
The designers have promised that the game will feature prominent messages extolling the virtues of the sharp steel fencing. But barbed wire groups say that it's too little too late.
If Bethesda wants to make this right, they should have the main character go behind a fence and then be safe from monsters because they can't climb over the barbed wire to get him. Now that's a game I would play.
Let's hope Bethesda listens.
Thanks, Caitlin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Kicking off the third hour of the live Sunday edition, it is Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And Darryl.
We are talking about Atlantic Standard Time, or as really as it's called by most people, Eastern Daylight Time.
Yes.
Because it's the same thing. Eastern Daylight Time, Atlantic Standard Time, same thing. Now, most people believe that daylight time occurs during the winter because that's when you'd want to save daylight.
Correct.
But it doesn't happen that way. Daylight time is most of the year, so going from March through November.
Yes.
That's EDT, not EST. So if you're telling people, meet me at, 7 p.m. EST, just say Eastern, because then you're referring to both Eastern Standard Time and Eastern Daylight Time. That's the reason that the networks, when they tell you to listen, it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Or 4 p.m.
Right. They never say daylight or standard.
Because they don't know either. It's a mess.
Right.
It's a complicated, stupid mess. Let's go to the phones here real quick. We got David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, let me close the door, cut the window. I got good news from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I'll take your word for
it. You having a felony, being a felon, having gone to prison for a few years, coming out is no longer an obstruction to getting a good job.
Okay.
Here in the state of New Mexico. Yeah, because I
don't know that ever was, but all right. They do have some impedances out there.
Well, most job applications will say, have you ever been convicted of...
They used to be in the last 7 years or the last 10 years or something like that, but I've heard that they've changed it to have you ever. But also there are some licenses like florist for whatever reason or mortician. Yeah, you don't want some guy who's had a cocaine charge being a mortician. Why?
And
I have no idea.
There are some states where they've actually passed at the state level legislation saying that companies are prohibited from asking that question.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been last few weeks or whatever, I've been playing this poker over the telephone with you guys. The my state is worse than your state poker.
All right.
Oh, we believe you.
Well, I want to play anyway. It makes it more fun.
All right.
And I played a couple cards. I had a Secretary of State that who's in charge of campaign finance law, and she was taking money from her campaign finance and going to the casinos, like 60 different accounts, and playing campaign money at the tables there. And she went to prison or to jail for 30 days and had to do a couple thousand hours of community service. And then there was another card I played was we just had just a few weeks ago had a senior senator go to prison for what they give him. They gave him, I think, was it 2 years for he pushed real hard to get a law passed allowing the state to sell a historic building that was owned by the state. And he just happened to be the realtor on that. They had a deal lined up to sell that building, and he was going to pocket $50,000. So that was another card I played. And I was just about to play another card when there was some new news on this. They built a courthouse in Albuquerque, I don't know, 10 years ago or more, the Metro Courthouse, the city courthouse downtown. And the guy that was the administrator of the court and a senior senator, in fact, the president of the Senate, Manny Aragon, and the mayor of Albuquerque at the time, Ken Schultz, and another guy. They had pocketed over $4 million they were able to embezzle out of the building fund from building that courthouse. And these guys have been getting out of prison lately. And the latest one just got out of prison, a guy named Toby Martinez, and he personally had taken $2 million of taxpayer money and put it into his own accounts out of the $4 million that was in total that was embezzled. And he did his 5 years in prison. He just got out, I guess, recently in the last year or so, and briefly took a warehouse job. But now the state, the public defender's office, I think it's a state public defender, not the county or city, hired him to be a senior, not a paralegal, but a senior paralegal, salary of $41,000, and so good news. You can commit whatever felonies you want and get out and get a job with the public defender's office and make decent money right away. You don't have to wait.
Well, there you go. I heard they used to hire convicts to be prison guards right after they got out if they were particularly good trustees. So, nothing new there.
Makes sense to me. They know all the good smuggling routes and such. You got to keep getting them cell phones to the prisoners.
Oh, this is before cell phones. It's Pony Express kind of time. Well, but anyway, it's kind of interesting.
Well,
thanks for the call.
Somebody's got to get the homing pigeons into the jail.
If it wasn't for the government, who would get the homing pigeons into the jail?
So, article here from Deadspin where this, I'm just going to go ahead and say this jackass is saying all these reasons why he thinks that Florida moving to permanent DST is a bad idea. He talked about how it's going to mess up my TV watching abilities. And then he says, personally, although he spent the vast majority of the article explaining how it messes up his TV watching abilities, personally, he says, I'm more offended at how out of whack celestial the change would put Florida permanently.
Out of whack celestial?
The state is already on the western edge of the eastern time zone.
That's true.
The Florida Panhandle, in fact,
is
in central and would then move to eastern by the current proposed law. Much of the Tampa Bay area, for example, is closer to the 90th meridian than the 75th, where the sun is directly overhead at noon in the central time zone, the 75th, which is true noon in the eastern.
I don't really care where the sun is at noon when I'm planning out my day. I care about how much light I have in the evening, I guess.
He says, in other words, if Marco Rubio's Sunshine State Act passes, my part of the globe will have to get used to noon taking place at 1:30 p.m. in the depths of winter. I didn't realize Florida had anything that was close to winter.
Or the depths thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the big winter problem in Florida is when it dips below 32 degrees and the oranges freeze. But they've got systems for that. Sometimes it gets down into the 20s. They actually had some snow. By snow, I mean small
dusting.
Yeah. It doesn't touch the ground. I mean, when it touches the ground, it melts. It doesn't dust anything. I don't think there's been...
Then that's not snow.
Yeah. People debate this.
Okay, so... in Birmingham, Alabama, where I was born and raised, snowfall by definition was 1/10 of an inch on the ground at the measuring station at the airport.
I don't know that from where I am from in Sarasota, Florida, that has ever occurred in recorded history.
He says there are practical non-sports related reasons not to use DST during winter. Parents note concern about the 4 months that kids would
AST, you mean?
Daylight time, sorry.
Yep.
During winter, parents note concern about the 4 months kids would be walking or busing to school in complete darkness.
I'm concerned that kids are going to government schools at all.
So, let's talk about this for a moment, because he also talks about farmers. So right now, this whole archaic thing of kids don't go to school in the summertime because farming.
Yes.
All right. You're worried that little Johnny might have to go to school when it's dark in December? All right, here's an idea. Have it be winter vacation instead of summer vacation. Little Johnny doesn't go to school for December and January.
I think that they're better off with those the school years that are like 6 weeks on and 2 weeks off and that kind of thing. And frankly, I would rather, as a parent, I would rather have 3 days of school or something than or whatever. I mean, figure out something other than what they've got. The idea of stopping school for 3 months in the middle of summer is, well, it's antithetical to education because you basically have to re-educate the kids when you get them back.
Right.
They're all confused and befuddled and all that stuff. My son is homeschooled. We're working on basic math right now, trying to get through addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, that kind of thing. And he's agreed to this system. But every single day, it doesn't matter, Saturday, Sunday, holidays, every day, he does his math before he gets, the rewards that go into that. And, well, there you go. It works. He remembers. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of a user's manual for the human experience.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
I know I'm probably a little more
angry,
excited about, well, angry. When I'm angry and excited really are just collapsed for me. They're together. They just live together. But I think this Atlantic Standard Time issue, this doing away with daylight shifting time, as you call it, Darryl,
DST,
is just a really great idea. I'd live with being in Eastern Time all year round, but I think that shifting one time zone to the east for everybody is a good idea, and here's the reason. Because you already exist in that time zone most of the year anyway.
Correct.
So if you're in Pacific time, if you're listening to me in Pacific time, and I know we have listeners all around the world, but I don't even know what the time zones are out of the U.S. I got 5 of them down, and that's the best I can do. And I guess Greenwich Mean Time, is that a time zone?
That's a time zone. There's also Alaskan, there's Aleutian, there's Hawaiian.
Yeah. Is Aleutian and Hawaiian the same thing?
I think so, but they're technically different.
They do have different names, yeah. So anyway, whatever your time zone is, that if you are on daylight shifting time, you spend 8 months. This isn't an exaggeration. 8 months out of the year on the time zone to the east of where you are. So if you're in Central Time Zone, because of daylight savings time, Central Daylight Time, CDT, is the same as EST.
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time. So, wouldn't you be better off? What do you truly gain by being in Central Standard Time that 4 months out of the year that you're on it? Because I just don't see it.
You gain experience of how to change a clock.
Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. You just changed the clock on my car today.
Yeah,
I didn't know how to do it. It should have been easy. It was really...
You press the little button that says H.
H for hour, right?
Yeah, I believe
H for hour, M for minute, S for seconds.
Yeah, it was that easy. But I never touched that button. I didn't know. Anyway, I told him to go die in a fire when he did it. It was that easy.
Mark never touches it.
So... Nonetheless, I think that's it's just a good idea generally. I think this is more efficiency. That's what I'm for. And then once we conquer this mountain, once we as a nation can surmount the stupidity that is that it is daylight shifting time, then we can go on to implementing the metric system.
All right. So I just want to point out, and it's something that I don't think a lot of people point out near enough, is that the government is controlling your time. Literally, the federal government controls the time of what time it is where you are if you're in the United States. But something that they can't control is a really cool T-shirt. Yeah, I know. Mark, you're wearing a boring one right now. Jonny,
mine's
yours
boring
is
too.
kind of boring. But grab one of those sitting on that counter right there. That's not a boring T-shirt. That is a clever, witty T-shirt.
Now, you don't know so I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, but underneath my sweatshirt, I always have some kind of T-shirt with some kind of witty saying of some sort or another on it. And this is basically my uniform.
Hold on, Jonny, hold that up
again.
Hold that
up for the camera, if you
would.
will.
For the camera, for people watching the webcam on twitch.lrn.fm, you'll see this really cool, clever, witty shirt. Old school, and it's a guy doing some DJ stuff.
Scratching on phonographs with the
phonographs.
Horns. Yeah.
So you want a cool shirt like that, but you're a broke libertarian. You've only got $6, and you will only buy stuff from other libertarians. I've got wonderful news for you. $6 shirts. They have a gigantic selection of witty, clever T-shirts that will make you the most exciting person in your social group. And for as
Which isn't
little
that hard.
as $6. And the shirts are sold by someone like you, a listener to Free Talk Live. $6shirts.com. Use code FTL to save 10% off of your entire order. $6shirts.com. Code FTL. So getting back to the Atlantic Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time debate, the author here from Deadspin, he gave all kinds of reasons about sports and TV. And then says, but personally, I'm more offended at the out-of-whack celestiality of the change, pointing out that the sun would not, in fact, be at the highest point in the sky at noon, which I contend it already isn't in most of the world.
I don't think that the vast majority of us operate on, the sun being at high noon.
Correct.
For noon. I think that what we'd rather have is the sun come up in the morning sometime about when we go to work.
Yep.
And look, I understand that some kids are going to school too early. I can't address that.
I used to have to go down to the bus stop at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Ugh.
School didn't start until 8, but I had to be at the bus stop at 6 to catch a bus that then stopped a bunch of other places and then got me to school.
Did you sleep on the bus on the 2 hours that you're on the bus?
Wasn't on the bus for 2 hours.
Okay.
Closer to 45 minutes to an hour, but, based on all kinds of weird things, bus dropped us off way early for school.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there were times, it was dark at 6 o'clock in the morning in Alabama.
Well, my mother had to get to work sometimes as early as 6 a.m. and would therefore drop me off at my grandmother's house to pick up the bus from there. She tried getting me up, but I just couldn't. If you people have young, if you have children, it's hard to get them up because they just need the sleep.
Yes.
She'd just dress me as this sort of limp rag doll and throw me in the car and drop me off bodily at my grandmother's house, where I would then
and then you'd wake up at grandma's house. Wasn't levitation and whatnot great as a kid? You'd fall asleep on the couch and then wake up in bed.
Yeah, those sorts of things.
So he continues and says, daylight saving time is stupid. It doesn't save money and it costs lives.
Okay, good.
The answer is not to move everyone a pretend 15 degrees longitude east, but to stick with what we've got.
What's that? Daylight saving time is stupid. Let's stick with it. Is that what his claim is?
Yeah. That's what I'm reading here.
No.
The answer is not to move everyone a pretend 15 degrees of latitude or longitude to the east, but to stick with the time we agreed to live by on this planet.
Who agreed to it?
A bunch of
I didn't agree to
thieves
anything.
and liars in D.C. 100 years ago.
So his fundamental arguments are two that I heard, which were, A, I don't like that the sun isn't at its zenith at noon. Okay?
Yep.
I don't think anybody cares. No one cares but you. Because he claimed that this was his biggest point, was it's offensive that the sun is not at its zenith at noon. That was his big point.
Yes.
As he claimed it. And
Celestially out of whack.
And his second one was basically some major sporting events, including Monday Night Football, will be messed up when it is held in Florida, 'cause reasons.
Right, and what we have
true.
is stupid, but let's stick with it.
That's true, but daylight savings times isn't just dumb, it kills people. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. oneway.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT NoGov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. You can give us a call, talk about, well, at this point, we're talking about daylight saving time. The number is 855-450-3733. The Skype line is wide open here. You'll sound great. Our username is lrn.fm. Just add us, and we'll, approve it real quick, and then you're in good shape. You can call in. You should have, basically a mic and a laptop will work, and you'll still sound better than being on the phone, but any kind of add-on mic generally is better. So that's my opinion there. Anyway, here's my opinion on pillows. You can get the best pillow around, and you can try it for 60 days risk-free. It's My Pillow. It's designed to fit the shape of your body, to hold your neck in the proper position. This is so important when it comes to headaches and neck pain and these sorts of things. I've been using it for years at this point. I travel with it. It came back in my backpack, basically the only thing that would fit in the backpack. So I carried it as carry-on luggage onto the plane recently. I don't travel. I try not to travel without My Pillow because I love it. It's great. Not only will it hold your head and neck in the right position, but you can always also wash it. So when it gets grody, think about your pillow for a minute. Think about dust mites and dead skin and all that other stuff. And how's that going for you?
I need to throw my pillow in the washer.
Right. You always have to do it. Just go check it out. It's mypillow.com. Coupon code FTL. You can get a buy one, get one free or half price deal there. It's mypillow.com. Coupon code FTL. Whoever bought a whole bunch of My Pillows in the last couple of months. Thank you. Apparently, somebody, it must have been one person, I don't know, I couldn't say, but for whatever reason, maybe it was for Christmas, I couldn't tell you, but we sold a bunch of My Pillows, a lot. We got a big check.
Nice.
MyPillow.com, coupon code FTL. And I'm glad because it's a product I'm really happy endorsing because I use it. I like it so much. I carry it along with me. MyPillow.com, coupon code FTL. Let's go to Larry in New Jersey. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Gentlemen, in the Roman Empire, it's a certain computing time, the hour was divided, the day was divided into 20 hours. 10 hours of light.
The day was divided into 20 hours, okay?
Right. 10 hours of light and 10 hours of dark.
Okay.
So they computed time from the minute the sun came up until it went down, then they went to the night. So,
hold on, who did this?
The Romans.
That was in the Roman Empire.
Okay.
So when it was written, Jesus hung on the cross for 3 hours until the third hour was actually from dawn until the sun was set across the sky.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
So it actually changed every single day. Now, could you imagine getting adjusted to that?
No. But, I mean, they just figured it out. I've heard that the better computation of time made people more effective, and increased productivity and sort of brought us out of the dark ages. I really believe it was coffee, frankly, and its ubiquity.
Oh, yeah. And you know how coffee is discovered, don't you?
No.
Some goat herders or
sheep herders.
It was like an Ethiopian goat herder saw his goats eating the berries of a bush, and he observed that they had made them, jumpy, and maybe they didn't sleep at night, and so they started experimenting on the berries.
Larry, there's a lot of audio problems, but thank you for the call. It's been a great call. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to James calling in from Miami. James, you're on Free Talk Live.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. The thing I just wanted to say real quick about this daylight saving time thing is that I don't know what the guy in the article was saying because I haven't heard the article, so I cannot say whether I'm for it or not. But I'm in Florida right now, and I live down here at the bottom in the Miami, Florida area, and I can only say that this daylight saving time thing it's not only a scam, but it's not good. Here, it's like unless you live in the eastern parts of the county, where downtown Miami, Miami Beach, those places, there are businesses that are still open, like on 7 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 at night, 8 at night. But here, it's like whenever we have daylight saving time, it'll be like 6 in the afternoon, and most areas in the western part, the businesses are already out of business. I mean, they're closed.
Closed. When it's daylight out still.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it'll be like 7 o'clock at night, right? At night. And same thing. And if you're not careful, you can end up missing your favorite TV show. And all I can say is I hate this daylight saving thing. I wish it would just go away. But now we have to deal with this Republican guy in the state that wants to make it like the law or whatever. And I'm really hoping that this guy doesn't do it. I hope that somehow it gets shut down. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the at this point it's the U.S. Congress. So the Republican House in Florida passed it. The Republican Senate in Florida passed it. The Rick Scott signed it, and off it goes. So you're saying you're in the sort of rural section of like Dade County, and you're out there, and the businesses tend to close a little earlier, so 6 p.m., that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like 6 p.m. because it's still light out, right?
Yeah.
And then
man,
you miss out on it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the call, James.
The thing is that,
go ahead.
Well, thank you.
No, go ahead. You were going to say the thing is? Yep, I guess I signaled to him he was gone.
I think it's hilarious the way I could not, Mark, could not care less about this daylight savings time stuff, but it's an evergreen topic here on Free Talk Live. You and Darryl are always ready to loudly and angrily agree with each other about it. And
I hate changing clocks because it messes with everybody's circadian
that's my biggest
rhythm,
problem with it, yeah.
And it gives everyone in the country jet lag for at least a week.
Yeah, I get jet lag for a day or so, but I mean, I'm never on time for anything anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much.
You managed to make it here for the show.
That's because he tells himself it starts at 6.
Let's go to Dave calling in on Skype. Dave in New Hampshire, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi. You know, there's this sort of angst since the Free State Project reached 20,000 signers, pledged to move to New Hampshire, and a sense that maybe there's been some drift. But I was going to the Free State Project forum.
What sort of drift are we referring to? Which do we refer?
Well, it just doesn't seem like there's much of a direction. Maybe there isn't supposed to be. Some people don't think the organization should even exist anymore, and they don't necessarily have much in the way of purpose except for doing the Liberty Forum and Porkfest, it seems.
Yeah. They should be marketing towards getting people to move, but all right.
Right. And I just went to the website because somebody had asked me not too long ago if they were still keeping track of signers and movers. And I'm seeing now that there are 23,778 signers, 4,352 Free Staters in New Hampshire.
So roughly 24,000 signers now, and that's up 4,000 from what? When did we hit 20,000? Wasn't it just
2
a year
years
and a half
ago?
Was it only 2? I thought it was 3. Okay.
It was
So
2016.
That's actually pretty good, pretty encouraging. And if they wanted to do more, right? I think they happen to have a little extra in their coffers at some point. They've usually been pretty good with the money they get. So, the thing that really worked well back in the 2003 era was this thing called shadow ads. And I think it was kind of led by a guy named James Maynard in Keene, who was a longtime New Hampshireite before the Free Staters even moved. And
what is a shadow ad?
A shadow ad is I guess he and others would go to, for instance, I think there was an incident in South Carolina where a bunch of students were sort of hogtied or whatever and had their lockers searched. And he published an ad in the local paper in that town where they said, listen, if you don't like this fascistic life you're having, come move to New Hampshire. That triggered follow-up publicity by the local media in South Carolina.
Dave, let's talk about this a little bit more, if you'll just hold the line. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And a one-time very big topic here on Free Talk Live, the Free State Project.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Hey, this is Ricky from Banyan Hill. You like freedom? I do. You like money? I do too. If you like freedom and money, then you're going to love Freedom Checks. You see, over the next few months, an estimated $34.6 billion is up for grabs to anyone who stakes their claim. Yep, you heard that right. $34.6 billion. To get all the details, just go to www.americanfreedomchecks.com. Thousands of people are already lined up to cash in. Take Doug, for example. He's a 46-year-old from Joplin, Missouri who's set to get a check for $24,075. And if Doug can do this, I've got a hunch that you can too. But here's the thing. If you want the chance to grab your full fair share of this $34.6 billion payout, you must have your ducks in a row by May 1st. So don't wait. Get over to www.americanfreedomchecks.com before May 1st. That's www.americanfreedomchecks.com.
Libertarian. I go to his website.
Free Talk Live.
I spent 8.5 years of my life in prison, and I blame it squarely on the shoulders of Christianity and the stories that I was told. If my parents, if the people at the Christian school, if the people at church would have just explained morality to me as opposed to explaining heaven and hell as a reason for doing what was right and what was wrong, I think I would have understood. It's relatively easy. If you do the moral thing in life, your life is going to be better. You're going to sleep better at night. You're going to probably be much more prosperous.
Right.
They say crime doesn't pay. They say it for a reason.
Happen right here in this world. We don't have to wait for an afterlife to experience the consequences of our actions, whether good or bad,
If I would have just been given the gift of morality instead of the gift of some silly, crazy story, I would never have gone to prison.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. It's the final segment here. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
And Dave from New Hampshire here called in and is discussing the Free State Project, which is a project to move 20,000 liberty-loving individuals to one state, that is the state of New Hampshire. It has been 2 years, more than 2 years, since the sign-up was reached. The sign-up number was reached. So that's 20,000 people. And presumably some percentage of that 20,000 people, supposedly all of them, but it took them so long to get to 20,000 that a good portion of those people are dead.
Which is why they're still signing people up saying that they will move.
Yeah, they can do that, but that's something they can do. And I'm trying to summon concern and care for an organization that has banned my radio program from their major events. But go ahead, Dave.
Well, actually, that's something that maybe we should be talking about more. Maybe we should be focusing a little bit on getting them to fix that problem. Maybe I should be bringing it up more. I'm sorry I haven't. They had whatever issues they have with Ian, but they don't necessarily have any issues with you or Darryl. And
they were very clear. The petitions to get Free Talk Live banned were very clear that because of Ian, Free Talk Live needed to be banned. And I don't know that I'm prepared to. The Free State Project isn't a project of 20,000 people. This is to be clear. You can participate in the Free State Project by moving or signing or whatever. But the Free State Project is 7 people who are on the board of the Free State Project. They're the ones that make decisions. They're the ones who get to vote. It's not a 501c3 in the sense that members get to vote, unless you consider the members those 7 people. So I feel like there's a large disparity between the organization and the idea. And I like the idea, fine, if you want to move to New Hampshire, maybe that will help liberty. Although I've been here for 12 years, and not to say I haven't seen some forward motion, but if I had the same amount of forward motion of the next 12 years that I've had for the last 12 years, I'd have to say to 24-year-old younger me, it's probably not worth the move. So, I'm curious as to what the next 12 years brings, but, I don't know that this idea of getting enough libertarians in one location has been achieved.
It's the one that's working the best of all the options we've got.
Of all the failures, it fails the least. Yes.
It is unfair that any bystander ever be targeted for something that someone else has allegedly done or said. And so you and Darryl are not even accused by the Free State Project of doing anything they don't like. So it's just, Free Talk Live should be able to come back, even if they want to ban Ian, maybe they ban Ian, but they should at least not be targeting people who haven't even been accused of anything.
Indeed. So you were making a point about what exactly with the Free State Project?
Well, just the fact that they had made 24,000 even after achieving their 20,000 goal, I think that was significant, and I'm happy about that.
They got 24,000 signers after 4,000 signers after the 20,000. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, it's interesting.
I had the Free State Project is not normally on my mind, but it has been lately, thanks to Tom Woods. I've got a bit of a bone to pick with him. He's in the Lou Rockwell School of Government Management of the Rio Grande area. And he says, well, consider the Free State. He says that we can't have, quote, open borders because then then people will come across the border and they will effect democratic changes towards a socialistic bent in America. So we need to have the government to prevent that from happening.
I think it's a pretty good argument against the Free State Project.
No. And then he says, and consider the Free State Project, their plan is to go to New Hampshire and change the government in New Hampshire. And, so why should it be okay for them, but we don't suspect that it will happen in other cases? And the problem that I have with his story is that, well, the statement of intent for the Free State Project doesn't say anything about democracy or changing government. And I personally have never had any intention of interacting with the government of New Hampshire to try and change it. I think that's a fool's game. I think you should just let them kind of be foolish, and they'll die themselves. You don't need to get involved with that.
But that's not what the Free State Project is basically. It was set up by a guy, Jason Sorens, who's a college professor. At the time, he was a graduate student, with the intention of interacting with the government to create a state where the maximum role is the protection of life, liberty, and property. So, agreed, there are voluntarists like you who want to enjoy the freedom that is New Hampshire. They've built your life here, and I'm so glad that you did. But I think that most people move here with the intention of having some kind of interactivity with the government, and either that interactivity is going to have results or it's not. Those results will either be positive from the standpoint of prosperity and happiness, or they won't. If they are do create more prosperity and happiness, people will either want to move for that or they won't, and presumably they will. And if they want to move for prosperity and happiness, and they have not been informed that the libertarian ideas work and why we have prosperity and happiness, they will continue to do the same things that they always did in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and the other places, and they will vote for stupid big government politicians of both stripes, and then you will have the same problem that you had to the beginning. Unless the Constitution of New Hampshire is changed, and changed relatively quickly, you're going to have the same problem that any other state has. Go ahead.
We have an open border. There's no restrictions really on moving from Mississippi to New Hampshire. Mississippi's poor, New Hampshire is not, and I've never even seen anyone from Mississippi in New Hampshire. It's never happened that I've ever noticed it. So you can have an open border, and yet people will not mass migrate.
Yeah, I don't know that moving to New Hampshire is necessarily going to make you wealthy, even though it has the highest median income of any state, and compared to any European country, as I saw one chart one time. But I would imagine that moving here would probably be helpful for a lot of people, simply by surrounding yourself with people who are doing well. The chances, the tide raising all boats and all that sort of thing.
Go to where the money is. That's your philosophy,
Yeah.
Mark.
I don't know that the velocity of money is there. Just because people's median income is higher in New Hampshire doesn't mean that, say, for instance, New York City wouldn't be a better choice. You should probably have a job before you show up in New York City. Otherwise, you'll just be living in a homeless shelter. You're going to say, Darryl? No? Okay. So, Dave, I don't know. When it comes to the Free State Project, it's hard for me to get excited about them anymore. The idea of moving to New Hampshire, I'm not gonna poo-poo it, but at the same time, I guess it just doesn't hold the allure to me that it did at one point, and it probably has something to do with my show being banned by the very people for whom I moved here a decade ago. And the idea that the participants of the Free State Project have allowed this small cadre of people who are unelected. I mean, they're not elected by, they're appointed, not elected. They have their own sort of hierarchy that they've created on their own. They appoint as they wish. They really don't care for outside influence. They don't ask people for their opinions. No one contacted me and said, okay, you guys have been a long-time supporter of the Free State Project. Well, we're here. We have all these signers. You've been credited with at least a quarter of the signers. That's 5,000 of the 20,000 people. And we'd like to get your opinion on this big move we're going to make. Yeah, nobody did that. Nobody was going to do that. They're the bureaucracy that they were meant to destroy, and that happens so many times with humans.
It's the nature of boards and committees.
Yeah. So most of my interactivity with the Free State Project throughout time, and I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about sort of that board, and it doesn't matter who's on it. It's just the way boards are. It's not been positive. And
yeah, I'm not a fan of boards.
From the time that I was asked to MC the first Liberty Forum, but then I was told I couldn't introduce Dr. Paul because I'm a convicted felon. Fine. I sucked it up. I went on. Then I did introduce him later on. Fine. Okay. None of these things particularly mattered to me. I'd take my licks over time because I was in it for the group, the idea. The payback was never there. And I don't know. I mean, bad management gets bad results, and I feel like that's what we've got.
Let me think about this.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, David. Really appreciate it. Check us out in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Join me, George.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone, and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had